Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar designed to advance our collective effort to reinvent the learning ecosystem using Dreamedy. My name is Nikita Ilen. I'm the COO and one of the founders of Anvinet, and I'm your host for today's webinar. I'm going to share the findings of our research on how content curation and social learning can enrich your training and workforce development programs. First, we will show everyone how easy it is to create a community to support your private learning ecosystem. And that's where we'll start. First, I'll go to dreamedy.com, and here I'll click on Create Community. I'll select Don't Have an Account, and I'll go ahead and fill in this little sign up form with my information. I'll enter in my password and confirm my password, and then click Next. Now it's asking me to check my email to confirm my account. So on my other screen, I will go ahead and log into my email and click the email and then confirm the account. Then I'll click on Dreamedy homepage and log in after clicking Create Community with the account that I had just created. After doing that, I'll click Login. And here you'll see the actual community that I'll be creating its actual settings. So I'll type in the name of the organization here, and I'll call it Corporate Company LLC. And the community domain, which you see here, is based on the email extension of the email that I registered under, which was nikitailen@corporate.com. That's why my community domain is corporate.dreamedy.com. In our next field, we have a community homepage logo picture. So I'll actually go ahead and select one that I had created earlier. This corporate cover page for community. Just drag and drop it in and it'll upload. Then I'll leave the button background color at default, even though I could select it here if I wanted to, and leave the color of the text buttons default as well. You could also customize your page using CSS code. I'll leave that empty for now. I don't want to bother you with some code. And I'll go ahead and choose industry sector to be technology and industry type to be information technology services. And then I'll simply click Save. Once I do that, you'll actually see our community homepage now. This is how it looks on corporate.dreamedy.com, and that's where I can log in now on this page. So what I'll do is I'm presented with three buttons: the Browse Portals, My Portals, and Create Portal. And I'll go ahead and do that now. I'll click on Create Portal, and I'll be presented with the Portal Creation Wizard. Oh, sorry, I have to log in again. Sorry about that. Anyways, here's the Portal Creation Wizard. So the portal full name will be Content Curation and Social Learning with Dreamedy, and I'll make the portal short name CCSL. I'll just leave the Dreamedy portal categories and community portal categories as miscellaneous. I can change any of these settings at any time, and nothing is shared with anyone until I publish my portal. And I'll give my portal a summary like this. So the summary is, in this portal we will learn about the basics of content curation, advantages of social learning, creating a community with Dreamedy, and building a learning portal using content curation and social learning. So I'll go ahead and click on Save Changes. And what I just did is prepare my environment to allow access to the tools that will help me curate my content. So from here, what I'm going to do is click the Create, Edit, and Mix button, and I'll be presented with the tools that allow me to begin my curation, mainly the Add an Activity or Resource tool. So before we begin, I'd like to start by explaining to you the basics of content curation. And to do that, I'm going to navigate to the files on my computer and choose an infographic about content curation that was created earlier. I'm presented with the option to add the image to the portal page or create it as a file resource for download. So I'll just leave it as image to portal page and click upload. It'll upload and you'll actually be able to see the image here, and I can click on it to zoom on it once and click again to zoom in further. And without further ado, I'll start talking about content curation. So what is content curation? Content curation is the process of sorting through the vast amounts of content on the web and presenting it in a meaningful and organized way around a specific theme. A content curator analyzes and picks out the best content that is important and relevant to share with their community or the learners they are training. Content curators don't just collect lots of links with information. Rather, they analyze and organize information to make the content meaningful. Content curators sort content by identifying, analyzing, annotating, and deciding on how the content should be presented. So why is content curation important? Because of the internet and the incredibly large amount of data available online, content curation is incredibly valuable since it is used to pick out and make sense of the large amount of content. Think of content curation as a process to make the content more valuable. Content curators basically take all the data of a specific theme and analyze it, cherry-picking the most important points. They format, annotate, and present the data to be ideal for consumption. Content creation is important in workforce development and training, since the idea is to transfer knowledge in the most productive way possible with the least amount of information and in the shortest period of time. Let's take a look at the graph in more detail. This graph is displaying basically the criteria on the left side and what the difference is between collecting and curating content. For example, in thinking level, in collecting content, you just classify it. Whereas when you curate content, you think critically about the content, synthesize it, and evaluate it for its meaning. When you collect content, you're not going into a lot of depth in the selection process. It's just somewhat random. Whereas in curating content, you cherry pick the most important points, synthesizing, interpreting, and evaluating the content for theme and context. In organization, collecting content is thematic, whereas in curating content, it's thematic and contextual. You use real-world examples. In terms of value, when you collect content, you meet a personal interest. It's a value to the collector itself. Quantity matters. In curation of content, you're trying to meet a learning goal, which is a value to collector and learner. Quality matters in that case. And in terms of audience, collecting content is not necessarily shared, whereas in curating content, you arrange it, annotate it, and publish it somewhere to be available to the general public. So the content is shared. Now, let's go ahead and go back to our portal page. And I'd like to drag and drop another infographic based on private social learning that I'd like to go over. So again, the same process. We drag and drop the file. We want to add it as an image rather than make it available for download. Once it uploads, we can click on it to view it. And click on it to zoom in again, and I'll zoom in a little bit further so it's easier for you to see as well. So implementing private social learning and training and workforce development. When you're in the process of social learning, you're trying to expand the process of learning in many ways. By sharing it with others, you can ask others for resources. You can help them with their problems or solve difficult tasks together, engaging in discussion and acquiring various knowledge and skills in the process. You can feel confidence through collaboration because it's easier to explain difficult subjects to others rather than, when someone's asking a question, sometimes it's often easier to explain to them. Someone's also enjoying being taught by someone who is of equal value in terms of being a peer. You can also share knowledge with each other, and people can acquire valuable skills and improve their self-esteem. And an interesting thing happens when several individuals collaborate on a problem. They come up with a solution much faster because they use simple language, common examples from everyday work, and everyone can freely express their opinion. When you crowdsource content, you have the benefit of digitally enabled social learning. So you can create, store, and filter community-based knowledge acquired over time. It's not necessary that the knowledge of one person is needed by another member of the community, but it certainly will enrich the collective knowledge to deliver better production and saving of valuable resources. And it can be done through information filtered through tagging based on subject, equipment, keyword, problem, topic, tone, or creator. Tagging and filtering can make the best resources visible and immediately accessible for the individual, especially those that lack the expertise, patience, or knowledge. Social learning almost has no boundaries on how and who is sharing their knowledge with other members of the community. So we learned a little bit about the basics of social learning. We learned about the basics of content curation. And now we'll go ahead and move on to what we learned in theory and putting it into practice. So let's imagine that this portal that we're currently in is a portal on workplace safety. I know that I have to do some work in going through the content, but keep in mind I'm not going to pick anything. I'm actually going to mix it with comments, additional information I might create on my computer, and let's say the first thing I want to do is tell everyone that safety is one of the most important parts in our work. And I actually have a document about that in Word doc format. So I'll go ahead and drag and drop that document into our timeline. And as you can see, it uploads quickly. We can click on it once it's in our timeline to download it. And once it's downloaded, we can click on it to actually open the document itself. So here's the document. I can scroll through it. It's a pretty big document. I'll go ahead and close it now, but that's just an example of what you can do. So what I just did was add a file to my portal that I already had in my possession. And it would be the first piece of content after the infographic images in our portal. Now let's say that I want to add more content and resources that the program offers me or what I can find on the World Wide Web. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on the button that says add an activity or resource with a tooltip, and this is how it looks. So to enrich our information, we could add a test, or in this example, I'm going to actually insert a piece of text in multimedia. So I'll double click on that. And at the same time while that's happening, I'll open up a new tab in Google. And let's say that I want my portal to be more visual and include an image. So I'll type in safety like this, click on images in Google, and find some image I'd like to use, like let's say this image. So I click on the image, right click on it, copy it, go back to my portal. In my label, I can paste the image in, and if I like, I can expand this a little bit like that and make the image a little bit smaller, something along those lines. Now what I did was just put the image in, but let's say I want to annotate additional text on this image. So what I can do is I'll type in this person is showing how you need to stop and learn about safety. Of course, I can also make that text bigger. I'll click the tools menu here and I can make the font size a little bit bigger like this. And let's change the color of it to be, let's say, red. So now we have a red annotation here. And what I did was I annotated and expressed my opinion about the subject matter. So it's not just collecting content, we're curating the content here. Now, let's say under this, I want to find a video on YouTube about safety. It's easy to do that. I just click on the Insert Multimedia button in my tools, click YouTube Videos, type in safety, click search, and here's our results. Let's say I wanted to use this funny safety training video. I'll click select this file, and I can even preview it before I click insert. I can play through it, so yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll click pause and click insert. So our video is inserted. And after that, after I previewed it, I put it in, I want to be more elaborate about our findings about this video. So I'm going to say I like this video about safety, and I'll change the color of that comment to, let's say, be this blue color here. So we have that. And after that, let's say I want to add a PDF file on safety and copy the link in and share it with everyone. So I'll go back to Google here, go into web, safety, let's say PDF. And this one looks like it might be good. So here's a PDF document. It looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and copy its link. Go back here and type in the link itself that I want. So I'll put in, by clicking this text, you will be able to preview a PDF file on safety. I'll highlight it and click this button to make a link. Paste the link in, click insert, and now that text is a link. And let's make it a little bit of a different color too. I'll make it like a lighter blue like that, for example. So we did that. And let's annotate under this PDF file as well. We'll put something like on page 2 of this document, pay attention to the part about safety. And we'll go ahead and change this font color as well, something like this green one, like that. Now I want to preview how I did everything so far. So what I'll do at the bottom is I'll click Save and Return to Portal. And now we can see how users will see the portal when they log in, just like that. So learners can play the video, and they could make it full screen if they wanted to, like this. They could go back out of full screen. They could click on this text to get a link of the PDF. I'll click back. So of course, once I gather all the content and analyze it, I'll be able to evaluate it by using various other activities, such as creating a test. And to do that, we click on this button again. And if we wanted to create a test, we would just click here. But let's say that I want to give a test run for the function of social learning. And for that, I'll select the Add a Question or Create a Form option and double click on it. And we'll get to a new screen here shortly with the forum name. So for the name, I'll just call it Safety, like this. And for the description is we can take advantage of the social learning functionality. Each person can express their opinion on the content we curated. And we'll just click Save and Display once we did that. And that's how our form will look. It'll say what the form is about. And here's where we can actually post on the forum. So if we wanted to post on the forum, we just click on Add a New Discussion Topic. And in the subject, we'll call it Safety Post. And in the message itself, we'll put we'll put, Dear employees, please make a post about your opinion and understanding of the content that we just curated and how this knowledge can be transferred to our workplace. I'll click Post to Forum. And what we just did was enable an activity that enables social technology for our employees to share knowledge. If they clicked on this post, for example, they would see it. They would be able to click reply and reply to it if they wanted to. I won't do that, but that's just what you can do. Now, let's go back to our main portal here, and what we'll see, something cool, is you'll see that the word safety is now a different color because it's linked to the safety forum that we created. So if somebody wanted to discuss about this picture and what they thought about it, they could click this link, the safety link, and it would take them to the forum and they could add a discussion topic. And if they wanted to do that with something else like the video, they could also click the link safety, and then they would be able to make a post on that about the video. And you could do the same thing with the PDF file and so on. Now I can also invite and collaborate in the portal with anyone I like by using the invite and share button. And to do that, I click Save and Preview first. And then there's the invite and share button. So I can invite all members of my community, which I'll go ahead and do. I'll just simply click all members of my community and click yes to this option. And now what you'll see is if you click on invite and share, that option is now highlighted in blue and there's a check mark next to it. on the right side, meaning that we already use that within our portal. We could also invite an individual or group from inside of our community, publish it to the public cloud so that other people could enroll into it that are not part of our community, or invite an individual or group from outside the community. And that's how simple it is to do. You could type in their first name and last name. In this example, I'll just use Vadim and type in their information and click invite. And what happens is that user receives an invitation via email, a username and password, and they can log in directly into the portal and participate and collaborate with us. Or if I wanted to invite multiple people, like a list of people, I could click batch mode and upload a CSV Excel sheet with a whole list of people to invite into our community. So that covers the basics of it. I'll go ahead and go back to our portal. We encourage, if you have not created a community yet, to take advantage of free 10 licenses and free technical support by creating a community on Dreamedy.com. Thanks, everyone.